July 27, 1996, the day that a bomb was set off in Centennial Park during the Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia. Richard Jewell at first was hailed a hero, but then he was labeled a suspect in that very bombing, turning his and his mother's life into a living nightmare. And boy, did the feds railroad Jewell, or attempted to at every turn. And even during his investigation, Jewell's lawyer, Watson Bryant, even says to his assistant that Jewell was being railroaded. As the film goes by or goes on, I started to feel for him and garner sympathy towards Jewell, especially knowing what transpired and the effect it had on Jewell and his life afterwards. The feds had nothing on him and wanted to pin it on him, trying to find anything that would prove his guilt. They were too lazy to find a real culprit, and Jewell even asked them point blank during an interview at the FBI building if they were charging him with anything. And they had no answer, and he would eventually be exonerated and free of investigation. An innocent man. I remember this when it happened, but I didn't follow the trial afterwards and the aftermath surrounding Jewell. And being a suspect just because he fit the profile, you know what I mean? I just shake my head at that. And reading that he was never the same and died later, even though he was found not guilty. Richard Jewell died of a heart failure in 2007 at the age of 44. And I am sure it was because of the toll this case took on him. The constant scrutiny, the interrogations, the media coverage, and the unrelentless witch hunt by the feds, who only wanted to pin it on Jewell just because he fit a profile of a former police officer, former military, and police wannabe who wants to be a hero. That's what they went on. That's what they figured was the shooting off point or the starting point to investigate him. Now, this film was very eye opening in that we see the lengths that the feds were willing to go to nab their suspect, but not the suspect. Clint Eastwood helmed another fantastic character driven film, which he is known for, much like American Sniper, about the life of Chris Kyle, a film which was well written and highly successful. This film about Richard Jewell featured great performances by Kathy Bates, Sam Rockwell, and John Hamm, and a breakthrough performance by Paul Walter Hauser as Richard Jewell. He shouldn't have gone through this, being dragged through the mud and his reputation's tarnished. I really enjoyed this film, and at least Jewell's legacy will always be of a man who did his job, saved many lives due to his observant eye, and will always remain a hero on that day on July 27th, 1996. This film came out last year, and I'm just now watching it, and I wish I had watched it when it came out. I was interested in watching the film, I really was, because I had always remembered, this case when they were talking about making the movie and Eastwood was at the helm and everything. I was like, yeah, I remember that. I remember that case. I wonder what they're going to show in this film. And like I said, an innocent man, all because of a profile, all because of, the federal agency, the feds that just didn't want to settle for anything else but what they had right there. Talk about lazy investigation, a lazy, way of going about it. Like, not once. I mean, they didn't show it here. Did they try to go after someone else? Except for, of course, his friend, who they wanted to label as his accomplice. But in the end, the good guy won out, and he lived another decade before he passed away. And at least he did so knowing that he was not guilty. Eric Rudolph was the real suspect. he confessed and he turned himself in. And Richard Jewell died knowing that he was innocent. You know, it's stuff like this that really makes you think. Especially now that forensics is where it is, and no matter what you do, no matter what little things you leave behind, it could really, really convict you. But also, it could also exonerate you if you don't have nothing for them to pin on you. You know, the man that played him, that played Richard Jewell, Paul Walter Hauser, I feel should have been nominated for an Oscar. Kathy Bates was, and rightfully so. She gave us such a she had such a small role, but it was so finely acted. Every nuance, everything that you expect from Kathy Bates to be able to just, even a simple character, a simple performance, and she could knock it out of the park. John Hamm as the federal agent, leading the investigation. I hated him. I respect him as an actor. He's a great actor. And that's how good he was. Even the one who played the reporter, that female reporter, hated her. Not necessarily the actress, but she made me hate the character. Sam Rockwell as Watson Bryant, another great performance by Sam Rockwell. And the movie was just eye-opening. It was such an amazing film. And Clint Eastwood continues to just knock him out. He's got to be 90 now, and he's still doing films. God bless him, or still having the passion, not retiring. A lot of these guys are retiring, and the other legends like Sean Connery, and I think Dustin Hoffman also is retired. I mean, Gene Hackman retired. A lot of them, and he's still going, Clint Eastwood. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the film Richard Jewell, directed by Clint Eastwood. An amazing film, and I'm glad I finally got a chance to check it out. And for those of you who haven't yet, check out the film, especially even if you're not a Clint Eastwood fan. I don't agree with Leonardo DiCaprio and his politics and all that, but he's one of the producers. I was thinking to myself, if I allowed that to affect me, boy, I wouldn't be watching a lot of films. If I allowed the fact that I don't like this person's politics, this person's views, I would not be watching any movie, listening to any music, TV show. I wouldn't be, you know what I mean? Because you can't do that to yourself. But then you'll be missing out on a lot. And this was a great film. If I had based it on that Leonardo DiCaprio produces this, I'm not going to watch that movie. But I watched it. And I'm better for it because, I get to watch a movie that kind of opens your eyes more into the history and the case of Richard Jewell. And I'm just glad that he was exonerated before he passed. And he knew that, that he was not guilty. I mean, he knew he was not guilty, but in the eyes of the people, he definitely wanted to be found not guilty, and so that he can be that hero again that saved many lives during that time. Only 2 people died. Only 2. And it's sad that they died. No one should have died. No one should die in a senseless act like that. But it could have been worse. Could have been worse. But anyway, those are my thoughts. And for those of you who stopped by and checked out this video, I appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.